Margaret, Ceann Corla, I move.
It's agreed, isn't it? It is agreed, yes.
Thank you. People may have seen the Sunday Business Post last week, which published research from the Marine Research Institute, which probably told a lot of us something that's quite obvious, that the target of reaching a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions of 51% by 2030 cannot be met if we continue to facilitate the growth of data centres in this country. It showed that if we do allow a corporate rush for data centres on the premise of an ever-expanding market, contrary to what Minister Ryan has repeatedly said in this House, we cannot have our cake and eat it. We cannot have an unlimited boom in data centres and fulfil our obligations to try and limit global temperature rises. In the world the Minister seems to believe in, we have to continue to welcome data centres and see more investment in renewable energy offshore and onshore to fuel those very same centres. And thus we enter into a kind of magical roundabout where the land is festooned with data centres empowered by fields of windmills that litter our land and banks of windmills off our shore and around our coast. I'm really not sure if the Green Party believe in this vision or not, but it is a fantasy and it exposes a basic flaw in the policy of trying to deal with the climate crisis that is an attempt to marry the insatiable demands of an economy based on the blind pursuit of profit and ever-expanding and increasing markets and an endless accumulation of wealth and the needs for sustainable, humane society in which people and planet are a priority. Data centres are not essential for the future of our economy or our society. They're not great investments, and they're only essential as a component of an economy that is built and structured on the needs of the corporate sector. There's no way we can reconcile the economy with 100+ data centres which are planned in this country, consuming over 70% of whatever renewable energy we produce, with the needs of addressing the climate crisis. And so therefore we have a stark choice to make. We have means that we can and should be replacing fossil fuels with renewable energy, but then allowing data centres to gobble up that energy will really leave us with a Herculean task of meeting the reduction that we need to save the worst of the climate catastrophe. It's at odds with those who are most enthusiastic about placing carbon taxes on ordinary people in order to change individual behaviour, but then they seem to see it as a given that they don't ever attempt to change the behaviour of corporations or businesses or challenge them. This bill will also address another gaping hole in the climate bill that Minister Ryan is putting before the House today, and that's the issue of LNGs and frack gas. Later today we will be encouraged by the Minister and others to rejoice at the passing of the climate bill, and although there are many things in it that we welcome, above all else we need to be honest with ourselves when it comes to addressing the climate crisis. We cannot fool nature. We can fool ourselves, but we cannot fool nature or the atmosphere. I welcome the ban on new licences of oil and gas exploration, but that is tempered with the knowledge that there are vast swathes of our ocean that remain under the control of oil and gas interests, with licences good to go till 2034. We're told there is an energy security review underway that will ultimately decide the government's policy on gas and LNGs, and in the meantime the Minister says he disapproves of it, as does the government. On June the 3rd, we learned that the Shannon LNG project had completed its pre-planning consultation with Bord Pleanála and remains a live project, notwithstanding the displeasure of the Minister. It is not good enough for the Minister or the government to say that they personally oppose LNGs or frack gas. We need them to legislate for that opposition. This bill will do that, and this is what we are saying must be done. This bill points to the fault lines in the future climate battle. Reliance on market mechanisms and hope for future technology will not stop the climate crisis and will not deliver a just transition. This bill points to the action that the state needs to take. We need to legislate to stop the development of LNGs. We need to legislate to stop the importation of frack gas or the development, indeed, of the data centres that I mentioned. If we don't, we will hasten the destruction of our environment. The science is settled, and we need to stop that expansion, to stop pretending that gas is somehow a magical green transitional fuel. So I move this bill and hope that it'll get the support of the House and move to committee stage as soon as possible. And I want to commend the climate movement, the students, the groups who protested and brought a mass movement onto the streets to see this bill, which is totally inadequate, going forward today. But I know that this will be the future battleground for that movement, and I hope they too will put their weight behind ending the expansion of data centres and stopping the importation of LNGs and the development of LNGs in Ireland.